The issue we're about to jump into is one that generates a lot of emotion. At some point, some stakeholders describe it as an emotional commodity because it has its impact cuts across just about every facet of the Nigerian life. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited insisted that the country consumes 68 million liters of petrol daily. NNPC Limited, in a statement by its Group General Manager, Group Public Affairs Division, Garbadin Mohammed, said it imported a total volume of 16.46 billion liters of petroleum into the country between January and August 2022. This, the company said, translated to an average supply of 68 million liters per day. It said the combination of various present cost element has translated to a retail pump price of 462 naira per liter, adding that the subsidy payment of 297 naira is to make the product affordable for the country. The response came days after the Nigeria Customs Service questioned NNPC's claim that the country consumes 60 million liters of petrol per day. We now have with us in the studio to discuss this the Vice President of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, Alhaji Abubakar Megandi. And we are expecting to join us also virtually, Alhaji Kailani Muhammad, who is an energy expert. Good morning, Alhaji Megandi.
Yeah, good morning.
It's a pleasure to see you in the studio again.
Yes, thank you very much.
Petroleum subsidy, petroleum, what do you call it now? Daily consumption of petroleum. We hear all these numbers every day, you know, very, very huge numbers, if you like. And Nigerians are finding it difficult to understand how these numbers are arrived at. You are a professional, you are a major stakeholder who plays in the value chain of the petroleum industry. What is your take on this claim and counterclaim by the NNPC and other agencies of government that we consume over 60 million liters of petrol per day?
Okay, good morning, viewers. Well, in fact, the rate of consumption is the only NNPC today is the sole importer of this petroleum product. And that is the reason why always we have been shouting day and night. We said, let NNPC allow marketers to become closer so that they can witness the actual numbers of liters being imported. But it's the only NNPC now today can import petroleum products, and they are the only people who can mention the quantity they imported. So actually we cannot justify whether it is true or it's not true. But all what we know, if they imported this product, we send our marketers to various depots, we load.
But it seems like that at the moment, I saw in the news, even in Lagos currently, people are finding it difficult to even access fuel in filling stations. What is really going on? I thought we've moved past, you know, that scarcity.
Yes, actually before there are scarcity, but now if you check most of our filling stations, we have availability of this commodity. So there is no scarcity now at present. But from what your members see, I mean, if we have 60 million liters in a day, we should see it, you should be able to attest to that in terms of the volumes that your members, you know, take out of this depot. Can you ascertain that we bring in that volume amount of volume of petroleum product into this country daily? Well, you know, normally, just like what I have said, it's only NNPC can determine the quantity because they are the importer and they are the people who used to distribute this product to the various marketers. But what I'm saying, Alaji, is does your association have a record at least of the volume of fuels that you take from the NNPC on a daily basis across the country? Yes, we have the record of our marketers. Okay. Yes, the record normally is about 30,000, 30 million liters and above.
Okay.
Yes, independent petroleum marketers. But you know, we have independent petroleum marketers, we have MOMAN, that is major marketers, and then we have DAPMAN. So all those people are marketers. We share the product together. But we independent marketers, we consume on daily basis more than 30 million liters. I don't know of the rest.
Well, is there like a move or maybe a negotiations to, just as you've said earlier, to bring the petroleum marketers closer, you know, to the NNPC, and just to be able to take off some of this burden and, you know, make fuel available to everyone?
Yes, as of now, I think now there is availability of the product. The only thing what we can complain, nowhere this product can be sold at the rate of 165. But generally, all over the country now there is availability. So we doesn't have issue of the fuel is not available again now.
The conversation around how much this country spends on subsidy per liter. Today, they are saying the prices would hit about 426, and that the government subsidizes around 270 naira per liter. In your own opinion, is there something the government can do to bring down the amount of money we spend on this subsidy? Why is it impossible for major marketers and the rest to also bring in fuel into the country?
I think you have already answered everything. The government should allow the whole marketers to participate in bringing this fuel. It is true that the government can be able to determine this, what NNPC has been saying, is this true or not? Because even we marketers, sometimes when they mention a figure, we just think about it. How can we consume 68 million liters? But you know, when they said it's only one government authority can be able to participate into business. And this business that they are participating, the other stakeholders are not aware. So they can buy that commodity at any rate and mention any rate. So there is need of a full sincerity in all what they have been doing. And then the other way, which we think will be the best, instead the government should fully depend on importing this product. Let them rehabilitate our Nigerian refineries. Just like now, as I heard, maybe very soon they say Port Harcourt refinery will pick up. I know if Port Harcourt refinery pick up, definitely there will be reduction of the subsidy rate.
But even if Port Harcourt picks up and we have the amount of theft, you know, that is inherent to the system, would that be able to make any impact? And I'm saying this because when the NNPC group general managing director spoke, he also accused various people of adding to this problem, including, he said, distributors like your own who divert this petroleum to other countries where they sell at higher prices. How would you respond to that?
You know, when you have already said acquisition, but believe me, independent petroleum marketers, there is no way they will divert the product because they have their filling stations. We almost control, almost getting to 85% of Nigerian retail outlets. That is the reason why I tell you, I say we consume 30-point-something million liters. And a person that has a retail outlet of almost 85%, he consumes 30-something million liters. Then the other remaining 15%, it will go on MOMAN and DAPMAN. So maybe unless if they are the people who are consuming 38 million liters. So that is the issue. But we independent marketers, there is no way a marketer will participate in diverting fuel. Because In a month, some of the marketers, they load only 2 to 3 trucks for their retail outlets.
If you load 2 to 3 trucks in a month, how then are you able to evacuate 30 million liters on a daily basis?
So I mean, some of the marketers, not all.
Okay.
You know, you may find a marketer that has more than 100 filling stations.
Okay.
There are some 200 filling stations. So that is how when we accumulate, you can see we can reach that figure.
Interesting.
We will take a short break now. When we return, this conversation continue. Please stay with us.
Every patriotic Nigerian should hear this. Any politician who means well for the people will never allow themselves or their supporters to engage in any violent, destructive activities. No politician who truly wants to serve the people and develop the nation will encourage his followers to destroy properties or take human lives before, during, or after the elections. The Nigerian public must watch out for these traits and isolate any politician who encourages supporters to engage in violence. No genuine politician or patriot will cause trouble and seek to destroy the very society which they aspire to lead or develop. Politicians who have the good of the people at heart will not allow themselves or their followers to engage in violence, destruction of properties, and then taking of lives. Be vigilant. By their words you shall know them. Shun violence. Stay away from politicians who want you to do so. Let's join hands to make the 2023 elections peaceful. This message is from the National Orientation Agency, NOAA.
Welcome back. It's Daybreak on Trust Television, and we have been discussing the Nigeria daily fuel consumption. And we have here in the studio the Vice President of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, Alhaji Abubakar Megandi, who has been giving us perspective from the point of IPMAN. We have been expecting to join us virtually Alhaji Kelaini Muhammad, who is an energy expert, but that process has proved abortive thus far. Our technical people would continue to make effort to see if we could get him on the show to also provide us more perspective on how Nigeria as a country can rein in this inconsistency and stop the bleeding that is purportedly associated with these phantom figures that seem to be thrown around by just about every government agency in Nigeria. Alhaji Megandi, before we left, we were discussing, how there seemed to be a lot of inconsistency. If your own body that account for about 85% of the filling stations in Nigeria and offtake, does about 30 million, how we can justify another 30 million for the other two bodies, Dapman and the other marketers who take another 30 million. So the question really now is, apart from drawing you closer, what in your honest opinion you think we can do, to check these contradictory figures that are coming from government? Because at the end of the day, the money that the government spends on subsidy also affects IPMAN as citizens of this country, because these are money that should have been available for spending either in healthcare or in road construction that your members greatly need to be able to drive smoothly from the point of loading in Lagos to the various parts of the country. What is your association proposing as a way of checking these multiple figures that are being bandied around by government agencies?
Well, what I will advise, first of all, let there be sincerity in dealings. And if at all they wanted to do justification, let them bring all stakeholders on board in terms of importation of these petroleum products, at the same time in terms of distributing. Because when they bring everybody together, we marketers, we are going to stay and make sure that to know the exact figure that they normally use to import, then the exact figure totally that they normally use to distribute. Because if there is no sincerity, definitely any figure can be mentioned.
So are you saying that when your members load these petroleum products from the NNPC, it is only the NNPC that keeps that record? You don't share that record with anybody else?
Well, normally we only know the record of our members in terms of loading. But we don't know the exact record of the petroleum product that is being imported inside the country.
So what would you say when you listen to somebody like the controller of custom, who knows the import figures of everything that comes into this country. When he said that statistics was not correct, what came to your mind?
Well, it's all possible because he is part of the government agencies, and they normally check in and out of all these products. So he and GMD, they should come and stay together and find out what is the exact value. Because it is a shameful thing when you have said you have been doing something with somebody, at the end of the day, he give a different figure, you two, you give a different figure. So from there, if you check, there is something wrong. There is something wrong. So let them check and find the exact figure, because all what I know, any product NNPC say they have imported, the custom must be aware, because they are determinant. At the same time, even if they are thinking for their version, the custom at the borders. Because of that issue of diversion now, some of our marketers are still feeling a pain that 15 kilometer along the border, any petrol station that you know has 15 kilometer along the border, he cannot be able now to discharge product. We fight this thing, but up to now, we cannot be able to win the fight. Because what they are saying, if you carry about 15 kilometers to the border, you are going to carry it outside. And we try to notify them to understand that there are some local government areas just around that 15 kilometers border, and there are people there. But we appeal to our members, let them follow what the government have said, so that they can be able to check whether this product is going out or it's not going out. At the end of the day, the volume that they normally use to show that they have captured along the border is how many numbers of liters. So let them check exactly what NNPC is importing.
Well, some would say maybe there is a bit of a rift between the Nigerian customs and NNPC, which is why we are getting to hear this at this time.
Well, actually, we cannot say anything about that, but all what we know, they work together. So let them find out the exact value. Because they are the only people that knows the product that come to Nigeria. We marketers, we doesn't have access. And before, it's not like that.
What changed?
Actually, we don't know how the system can change, because it's only NNPC is importing this commodity. The marketers, their own is just to go to the various depot and load. Period.
Looking at other issues in the petroleum subsector, you earlier talked about the need for the refineries to work. We've mentioned Port Harcourt. We understand that the old part of the Port Harcourt refinery would be ready by December, and that alone does about 60 million liters per day, which is what we claim to consume on a daily basis. We understand that Kaduna is under rehabilitation and worry. I think we have 2 in Port Harcourt. Do you think, even with the rehabilitation of these 4, and of course the Dangote refinery, that is enough for us as a country to take care of this petroleum crisis once and for all?
Well, you know, if these 3 refineries are functioning properly, and plus that Dangote refinery, definitely we doesn't have much issues. Because even if we are going to import, maybe it will be just a minimum figure compared to almost importing almost 95%. Almost 95%. So if these refineries, they are functioning, definitely there will be a lot of differences. And Nigeria will be saving a lot of money that they can be used for the teeming population.
So if eventually these refineries get working, how do we deal with the issue of oil theft and bunkering, as we always hear?
You know, this issue of oil theft and bunkering is all the factor of unemployment. And if these refineries are functioning, a lot of teeming youths will be there working. Because importation is just we are selling our job to another country and be importing. But if we are the people who are refining this product and we distribute it, you will see a lot of youths will have a place to work. It's just like we independent marketers. If you check all our filling stations, we employ a lot of teeming youths. So that one too will reduce a lot of redundancy, whereby you may find if a young graduate, he doesn't have anything to do, he must find a way of survival.
Interesting perspective there from Alhaji Megandi. I understand we are now being joined by our second guest virtually, Alhaji Kelani Muhammad, who is an energy expert. Good morning, Alhaji Kelani. Good morning, Alhaji Kelani, if you can hear me. Okay, we have been looking at the confusion sort of that has been occasioned by the various government agencies claiming to have different figures of our daily consumption of petrol, a figure that the NNPC has continued to insist it's around the region of 68 million liters per day, a figure that determines how much this country spends on subsidy per liter. The question is, do you think there are satisfactory metrics, in arriving that this NNPC uses to arrive at this 68 million liters, upon which this country spend a whopping 4 trillion naira as subsidy per annum? Virtual guest. I'm sure technical people will sort this out, and the moment we have him, we'll have him react to this issue. Alhaji Megandi, one other issue that has affected distribution of petroleum products in Nigeria would be ruptured and damaged pipelines everywhere. I mean, we have a depot in Suleja, we have another in Gombe, and I think one in Maiduguri, and scattered everywhere across the country. But it appears that your members would necessarily have to then use tankers to move fuel from Lagos into the depot and then from the depot to the filling stations. Is all of these operations as it is not adding to the price of fuel per liter in Nigeria?
Really, it's adding to the price, because a person that is supposed to carry product in Maiduguri depot, now he depend to carry product either Port Harcourt or Lagos, and he used truck. So all this thing, when we contributed this amount of money, it added seriously. And just like what you have mentioned, if we look the amount of money we spend on subsidy, for 2 to 3 months, is enough to repair all these ruptured pipes if our refineries are functioning, whereby it can be pushed to the various depots. Because we two marketers, sincerely speaking, we are not happy for this bridging, because it gives us a lot of headache in terms of managing the trucks, in terms of a lot of issues are there. Because by the time when you loaded, let's say 45,000 liters from Lagos, your mind will never be at rest unless if that product reaches your filling station, you discharge. So it's not a small thing. We are not happy. The only thing, there is nothing we can do, because it's part of our business and it's part of humanity to see that we pay our own sacrifice towards to our government. But for carrying product from Lagos or Port Harcourt to come into the northern part, believe me sincerely, it's not easy. There are a lot of wastages and hardship.
Interesting. The last time you were here, we were also looking at, you talked about bridging, we were also looking at the issue of payments to your members, which some of you put in the region of 70 billion that has not been paid. We understand that there were some protests and the government claims that they have made some payment. What's the update as far as that is concerned?
Well, actually, in terms of payments, now the government has started paying.
Okay.
Yes, the pay now is in progress because since last week, they have started paying marketers.
Okay.
But the only thing, we are still encouraging them to try and settle the remaining money. But there is an improvement.
Okay.
And
so we
That's
don't
good
expect
news.
any,
yes,
don't
you
Any
don't-
protest.
surprise.
yes, there will be no any scarcity,
We hope so.
definitely, by
We
God's
hope so.
grace.
Well,
Interesting.
it's been interesting.
We have been looking at issues that border on the petroleum industry in Nigeria, especially the downstream, especially indeed when it comes to the volume of petroleum products that we consume per day, the conflicting narratives that seem to be coming from different government agencies. The ministry has a different figure, the custom has a different figure, the NNPC, which
Also
is the
has
chief
some
marketer,
figure.
also have a different figure, and it appears that even stakeholders in the industry seem to suggest a different figure. Whatever this figure is, Nigeria is at the receiving end because it is consequent upon these figures that the so-called fuel subsidy claims are paid, and that leaves us at the receiving end because the more money we take, to pay these subsidies, the less we have
Absolutely.
to attend to other pressing engagements that the country needs to attend to, especially at a time when we are not getting in more money as a result of everything that is happening around the world. And we have had in the studio with us the Vice President of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, Alhaji Megandi, who has talked us through what they perceive the issues were, what we can do to solve this problem, and what the government can do. So among chiefly the reasons he advanced is the need to fix the Nigerian refinery. Alhaji Megandi, before we let you go, I would like to have your final words on what you think we can do in the shortest possible time to move away from this problem and begin to enjoy the benefit of a product that God has blessed us with.
Well, just like the way they have started paying marketers their transportation bill now is good and fine. Then secondly, even if it's modular refinery, let the government allow the independent petroleum marketers to have an opportunity of establishing this modular refinery. Because immediately when they establish this modular refinery, it will assist in terms of refining this petroleum product. And this oil theft and the rest of them, it will reduce drastically. Because whenever we said people, Nigerian indigenes, they are the owner of these refineries, and they can refine and employ these youths to those refineries, definitely it will reduce seriously.
Well, we do hope that we get to see that happen, as time goes on. Thank you so much for coming on the program, and we hope to have you next time.
So thank you very much.
Thank
I
you
wish
very
you the best of luck.
Thank you.